Happy Valentine's Day week. Yes? Our theme this month is Living Love. It is also Bring a Friend February. Yes, thank you. So bring a friend. How many times have, you talk about this teaching to somebody and they say, well, there's a name for this? It's New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. It's New Thought. Yes, bring a friend. So if you're new, welcome. We're glad you're here. We're running a little fun sort of contest. The person who brings the most friends, and you can sign up either here or online, wins a free class or a practitioner session. So I know some of you really like the contest, so we do that. We are also, of course, celebrating Black History Month, and we are doing this with the book that we are really studying this month. The book is all about love. It's by Bell Hooks, and you can see each Sunday we're speaking from a certain chapter in her book. And speaking of speaking, wasn't Shelley's talk last week phenomenal? Oh my word. I felt so ministered to, and that is such a blessing in my life. So Shelley, thank you so much. It was fantastic. If you didn't see it, I really invite you into that. So Bell Hooks, I first met Bell Hooks, if you will. Of course, not in person, I wish. She made her transition. She passed away in December of 2021. It was very unexpected and very sad. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to be sure that I brought her work to you. And this month, it just makes so much sense. Her book, All About Love. It's really the intersectionality between love and social justice and spirituality. Hello. She was just brilliant, a scholar, author, activist. I first discovered her in graduate school when I was working on my conflict resolution, social justice work, and have just been, in love ever since. So I want to revisit the definition that she uses in her book for love, and it's my favorite definition. It actually comes from M. Scott Peck's book, The Road Less Traveled. And his definition is, love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. In the definition of love, he is including spiritual growth. Shelley reminded us so beautifully what the purpose of love is. The purpose of, in relationships, and really all the aspects of our lives. The purpose in relationships. Why do we engage in relationships? For the purpose of love, so that we begin to unpack and understand the love that is actually divine love. I'm not talking about heteronormative love. I'm talking about all relationships, the love that exists in all relationships. Shelley reminded us that the highest purpose of creative expression is love. Why? Because we get to feel that divine expression through us in all of our forms of art and work and all that we do in the world. The highest purpose of money is love. Why? Because it requires us. It's simply the vehicle that we use to interact with each other, not only those that we know, but people that we don't know all the way across the world. So this idea of love and a love ethic is what I want to talk about today, bringing in this concept of divine love into this idea of a love ethic. So what did Bell Hooks mean when she talked about a love ethic? She said that a love ethic presupposes that everyone has the right to be free, to live fully and well. And to bring a love ethic, she continues, to every dimension of our lives, our society will need to embrace change. In order to be able to live from a love ethic, our society will need to embrace change. So that, of course, starts with us. We need to become very, very comfortable in the face of challenge and difficulty. In the face of that, leaning into a love ethic. And this is ancient wisdom. So the Bhagavad Gita said we cannot walk east and west at the same time. We can't. We can't have a love ethic and a fear ethic. And please know that fear is generally masked for hatred. Hatred shows up as fear. Fear is underneath it, right? So wherever there is hatred, there is fear. So that allows us to have a tiny, tiny seed of compassion, right? We've all been afraid. When you see someone acting in ways of hate and hatred, there is fear underneath that. In the Christian Bible, in John, it says, there is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear. So as we peel back this idea, the fact of the matter is that both a love ethic and a fear ethic, which looks like hatred or hate sometimes, division, yes, it's very relevant. They can exist at the same time. We just saw this week. Did anyone watch the State of the Union or see clips from it? Oh, wow. So here's the deal. We had in the upper seats, what I would like to present to you, the metaphor being the high-minded place. In the upper seats, we had people living from a love ethic. Whether you agree with President Biden or not is irrelevant in this conversation, so let's put that over here. In the upper seats, he introduced us to different people who were living from the place of love. Tyree Nichols' mother, his parents, she said good has to come from his death. Oh. The gentleman, Brandon Say, he's a man who is in his 20s. He is the young man who fought the gunman who came in for the Lunar New Year at that second dance hall. Do you all know what I'm talking about? He said in the New York Times, he said, I really thought in that moment that I was going to die, but I had to do it. I knew he would have killed everyone in the room. Love, ethic in the upper seats of that room. It was so clear. Jill Biden is 71 years old and she is still teaching at a community college, not because she needs to financially, because she is called to do that work. She knows that it is important, leading from a place of love. So that is the love ethic in the very same room where in the back row were not love ethic folks. They were leading from a place of fear and hate and heckling the president in the same room, in the same place. You know, I was thinking about this dichotomy and how really that's kind of a microcosm for what's happening in the world today, is it not? There's this one room that we're all in. It's planet Earth. And we get to choose. We get to choose. Are we going to choose the upper seats? Are we going to choose high-minded consciousness? Are we going to choose love? Even if we disagree with what is being said, if we choose love, we're part of the peace process, yes? Or we can choose to sit in the back and heckle. Now, here's what I want to tell you. We all heckle. Sorry, we're human. We heckle maybe quietly in the back of our minds, but we do it. And this is the walk of being human, and this is the walk of spiritual growth and spiritual maturity. So not that long ago, I was on a plane. I fly a lot, and when I'm on a plane, it's my time to I sit in my seat and I put my earphones on and I have my notes and I read and I think about often, what am I going to share with you all? A lot of times. And pretty soon I won't be commuting, but I am at the moment still, and that's okay. And it's my time. It's actually sacred time. I love it very much. So I'm on the plane thinking about this, and I sit down and I literally say, okay, Spirit, okay, love ethic. This is what I'm talking about on Sunday. I'm saying this quietly. I'm not saying it out loud. This is what I'm going to talk about on Sunday. I'm open to receive whatever you're going to, whatever you're. The two women sitting in front of me were very chatty. So chatty, I couldn't hear myself pray. Seeking guidance. I kind of stopped mid prayer, and I began to silently heckle. So did everyone else within 30 feet, because they were very exuberantly loud about their love for each other and about how excited they were to be on this airplane together. Anyone? Have you ever had that before? This was the worst I've ever experienced in my life. I mean, I won't do it for you because it would hurt your ears. It was very loud. And I sat there, and I for a second, I was like, oh, somebody is going to say something. And nobody did. And everyone was like, whoa, oh my God, they're so loud. And I go back, Spirit, I could use some guidance here about what I'm going to talk about on Sunday. Hello. And then I had a memory. I had a memory of being on an airplane with my beloved, dear friend, Reverend Norm Bouchard, who made his transition, who passed in December of this year. I shared with all of you. It was very hard. I'm still navigating that in my life. And I remembered that the very first time I met Norm was sitting next to him on a plane on our way to Brazil. And we talked very enthusiastically the whole time. And I'm certain that we annoyed people, and they were silently heckling us for many hours as we connected and just delighted in each other on this airplane. I had that memory I had completely forgotten about. So here I am praying, and this is what comes to me. And in that moment, I went, oh, Norm, hi, buddy. Oh, I get to choose the upper seats in this moment. I get to bless these women. I get to delight in their love and their joy with one another. And do you know what happened the second I did that? Suddenly, they didn't seem so loud. They were, but it didn't bother me anymore. Do you see? It didn't bother me anymore. And I went, okay, God, I got it. Message received. We all have these moments in our day-to-day life where we often unconsciously choose the back seats, the heckler row, you know? I know you all are loving. There's no heckling happening here. So it's But do you see what I'm saying? I think that we all have this opportunity to notice, to get real with ourselves, and notice that if we are going to truly live a love ethic, we must make these moments conscious. We must give ourselves the compassion to go, oh, wow, I could choose another thought. I could choose a higher-minded thought. It doesn't mean we have to agree. It doesn't mean that we have to, it's nothing about that. It's about choosing. I spoke several weeks ago about blessing. Do you remember that? It's about getting to that place of blessing, of choosing, so that we can create spaciousness, so that we can create the promise of peace. Do you see the connection? I want to share with you a video, if you'd be so kind, John, that came through my feed this week. It's Sir Ian McKellen, and that's anyone, the brilliant British actor. Mm-hmm. So, John, if you'd be so kind.
If you ever arrive in Manchester, if you're lucky enough to be able to afford the train fare, you come down the steps at Piccadilly, and if you're lucky enough to be able to afford a taxi, you get in the back of one, and the taxi driver, usually a man but not always, says, "Where are you going to, love?"
Or is it just, I'll tell it. It's doubling in here, so is it a little confusing? Yes? Yeah, hang on. We got it? You want to try it one more time?
If you ever arrive in Manchester, if you're lucky enough to be able to afford the train fare, you come down the steps at Piccadilly, and if you're lucky enough to be able to
Thank you
you
very
come down the
much.
steps at Piccadilly.
All right, that's all right. I will share with you. We're still working out the kinks. It's just us. Thank you for understanding. So Ian McKellen, if you have a chance, Google this when you get home. It is so beautiful. He's talking about getting in a taxi cab in Manchester, England, where he's from. And he says that when he got into the taxi cab, the taxi driver says, "Where to, love?" And Ian McKellen almost starts to cry because he says, I know I'm home. Where in the world does a man call a perfect stranger love? A man is saying to another man, "Where to, love?" Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? And then he goes on to say, with the gender pronouns, if people are confused, just call them love. Just call them love. Yeah. That's a love ethic. That's a love ethic. The reason that was so meaningful to me is a couple of years ago, I mindfully started calling people love. If you've been in any of my classes or you've been around here, you know I'll call you love. And at first, when I started doing that, I noticed two things. Because I did it very mindfully, because to me, my word for God is love. And I am here to experience, to know, and to bring love to the planet. And that means to all of you, to everyone. It doesn't matter. I'll say it to someone at the bank or someone in a grocery store who's helping me or the gas attendant. Last night, I said, "Thank you, love." And he went, "Oh, you're welcome." Because one of two things happens. The first thing that happens is either someone gets kind of uncomfortable. And I'm okay with that. That's kind of my job. It's all right. It took a little while to get used to when I first started this gig, but I'm used to it now. It's okay. That's spiritual growth. There's edges there. But the second thing that happens more often when I refer to someone as love is their edges soften. They go, oh. I do it a lot in class because a lot of times people unconsciously bring baggage to classes. And if I refer to them as love, there's a softening there. There's an opening there. So I am going to invite all of you this week. Are you willing? Are you willing? Even if it's one person that's kind of safe, you can say, "Well, hi, love. Bye, love. What do you think, love?" And watch what happens. This is one thing that we can do, sort of practically speaking, as we lean into a love ethic, as we lean into this idea. The other thing that I want to talk about that is so germane to this conversation is this concept of benefit of the doubt. In order to live with a love ethic, it requires that we lead with benefit of the doubt. Now, when I talk about benefit of the doubt, I'm talking about the spiritual practice of this. Understanding that if you are, metaphorically speaking, in a situation and someone is acting badly, and we all mean well, and we all act badly from time to time. Can we just name that? It's just the way it is. If you are in a situation and someone is acting badly, I want to remind you, it's so much easier to start heckling. It's so much easier to plant yourself in that back row, isn't it? Isn't it? To complain, but here's the thing, we do not know what they are carrying. We do not know the circumstances that have brought them to that place, to that level of fear, which has then brought a layer of hatred and behavior that is so hurtful. Do you understand? Do you see what I'm saying here? So, benefit of the doubt is a spiritual practice. If someone doesn't call you back, if you are in a conversation and it starts to derail, if someone cuts you off the road, if you are watching what I like to call prayer requests / news in the evening, whatever it is, I'm going to invite you into the practice of benefit of the doubt, like capital B-O doubt, D, capital D, benefit of the doubt, recognizing that at the center of them is love. The center of them is love. And when you respond from the place of a love ethic, you change that environment. You change it. You shift it. You don't have to say anything, but your energy, because we understand we are all energetic beings. This is our teaching. We get this. We understand. You know when you walk into a room and people have been arguing. You feel it. You know when you walk into a room and it just feels like, hey, this place, so much love, so much joy, so many prayers. Yes? So this idea of beginning from the place of benefit of the doubt is actually living from the place of a love ethic. But it requires humility. It requires the willingness for us to say, I don't know. I don't know what's making that person so hateful, so mean, so fill in the blank, all of the things. I may not agree with it. I may actually take steps to correct, to change, to eradicate it. Whatever that may be, social justice, spirit-led social justice, that's a given. But we can show up with a love ethic. So I'd like you to think about for a moment, take a deep breath. You may even put your hand on your heart if that feels good. And I invite you to just bring into your awareness a situation in your life, whatever it may be, where you might not be in the upper seats, where you may not automatically go to benefit of the doubt, where you may be making assumptions, where you may be unintentionally listening to conspiracy or rumor or gossip, unintentionally, just gently, with such love and compassion, locate that place or that tendency, whatever that is for you. And I invite you to take a deep breath. And I invite you to wrap it all energetically with love, with light. And as you do this, I invite you into the willingness of the awareness that you do this so that you can change it. Ernest Holmes said awareness is curative. Just wrap this in love, gentle compassion. Bless that little heckler. Let them know they're safe. They don't have to do that anymore. They don't have to do that anymore. You can show up in that situation, whatever it may be, with love, even if it's just in front of your television set. Take in another deep breath, and when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes. Bell Hooks wrote, "Domination cannot exist in any social situation where a love ethic prevails." Domination cannot exist in any social situation where a love ethic prevails. When you deeply consider this, it is profound. It is profound. A love ethic requires equanimity in every single area. In every single area of our lives and in the world. Not equanimity with groups, culture, gender, environment. Not one can dominate the other if we are going to live in a love ethic. Our climate crisis will heal when people of this planet choose a love ethic. I believe that will happen. I believe that will happen in our lifetime, but you'll be able to do the math. It's not just scientists finally decide it, it's all of us. All of us lean into the love ethic for generations to come that will be impacted by it if we don't. Here at the New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, our mission, we shared this in the beginning of the service, our mission is recognizing oneness. We envision a world that works for everyone and all creation. And our vision is providing spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Bell Hooks explains that when we live by a love ethic, when we embrace a global vision, she writes, wherein we see our lives and our fate as intimately connected to those of everyone else on the planet, then we are living a love ethic. Nearly 80 different special search and rescue teams from 80 different countries, filled with the best of the best, have all now gone to Turkey and Syria to support with the earthquake effort there. Know this, there are more of us that live the majority of the time from a love ethic than not. It is just that the people who don't are sometimes louder. And sometimes they have more money. Which brings me to my next point. We here at the New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, we give 10% of everything that we collect to the organizations that are living our values out in the world. So I want you to know that the money you give here, I reached out to Rev Sally, who leads our circulation team. We will be giving to the earthquake relief. We're also giving to Tyree Nichols Fund for his son. I'm going to show you later a list of all the things, all the places we've given in January. Just know that this is part of our commitment to living a love ethic in every single area that we can. In every single area that we can. We have an opportunity to join the upper seats, to stay there. And when we find ourselves in the back on the floor, it's a breath to move ourselves right back up here. It's just a breath. It's not complicated. It's a choice. Everything is a choice. Love is a choice. I invite you to go out this week and choose love, my friends. Choose love, loves. Hi, friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this message supported you. We are a nonprofit, and we do all of this based solely on the gifts that you give. No amount is too small or too large. You can text to give. You can go online and check out our website. We're doing so much. You can give that way. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this community, and for supporting this message of bringing more light, more love, and spirit-led social action out into the world. Thank you. You're loved. So loved.